Many recordists nowadays spend the majority of their time inside the box, within their DAW of choice, taking advantage of the many wonderful tools and processors available these days in the realm of ones and zeros. In fact, many projects, especially in some musical styles, can be done mostly in the box. But with any kind of music, there's at least one activity that still has to be handled old school: recording the vocals. Of course, vocal recording is not just for singers. Dialogue recordings are a big part of the industry with the ascendance of post-production, video, and podcasts. But with both singers and the spoken word, getting down vocal tracks involves all the traditional analog concerns: miking, levels, monitoring, headphone mixes, and the like, not to mention the psychology of the vocal session, the sometimes more daunting task of working with creative personalities, talent. The recording studio, whether it's a big traditional top-of-the-line studio, a small project room, or even somebody's bedroom, can often be an inhospitable place for the live sound of vocal performances. Even when the recordist manages to successfully tame the environment, the performer, especially performers less seasoned in the recording arts, may need more than a little hand-holding to coax the best they're capable of out of a nervous singer or artist. And of course, the translation of acoustic sound to analog voltage before the final transition into the safe, more forgiving digital world is always fraught with potential technical problems. And since it's all going down live, sometimes there are no second chances. Studio folklore is full of tales of woe where that brilliant, perfect, unrepeatable vocal take was lost due to some minor engineering glitch or simply user error. So it's not surprising that, as recordists and engineers are still mastering the art of vocal recording, there'll likely be a few mistakes made along the way, specific choices or habits they may fall into that might not be the most effective ways to go about the task at hand. This series of courses, 10 mistakes or 10 don'ts of various production activities, focuses on some of those things, common and sometimes less common methods and approaches that it would probably be best to avoid. This course, of course, covers 10 things to watch out for when recording vocals. It presents a series of suggested don'ts, mistakes, or just less effective practices, along with suggestions for alternative approaches that might streamline the process and improve the results. The course assumes a basic familiarity with microphones and the recording process in general, but just to be thorough, I'll do a very brief review of the basics before jumping into the 10 don'ts themselves. Vocal recording involves a series of steps that were at one time like breathing to any studio engineer, at any level. But nowadays, with the use of virtual tools for so much of the production process, the modern recordist, especially small project studio engineers and home recordists, may not necessarily have the requisite experience under their belt. Capturing a vocal performance, whether a singer for a music track or the spoken word for a post-production or a podcast, presents a set of challenges that need to be met and often obstacles to be overcome to get the best possible recording down. Despite all the later opportunities for fixing, tweaking, and generally enhancing vocal tracks, you still need to be ready with everything in place and working optimally when that magic take comes along. All the digital magic in the world still can't take the place of an inspired vocal performance, and all that analog sound and technology has to be managed optimally to successfully capture that studio gold. It starts, of course, with a performer and a mic. In the studio, which I'll be focusing on here, that mic usually should be the best one available, but it also needs to be a good match in tone and response for the particular voice it'll be capturing. Choosing the best mic, when there are choices available, is an art in itself, and obviously the key first step in the process. Since this is the analog world, an appropriate signal path is called for, and proper levels have to be set to avoid any really basic technical errors. Attention needs to be paid to the performer, making sure he's physically approaching the mic in a way that'll guarantee a good, clean, clear, detailed recording. You don't want any inappropriate techniques or bad habits to be carried into the studio from live performance. A recorded vocal track, like that spring break photo you posted to social media, is forever, and it has to stand up to repeated listening on potentially good quality playback systems where every little flaw, musical or technical, will be revealed and come back to haunt you every time the track is played. But helping the vocalist deliver his or her best performance involves more than just having the right mic, front-end gear, and proper technical recording technique. It also means optimizing every aspect of the vocal session, from the more obvious, like the sound check and headphone mixes, to the more ephemeral stuff, like creating the right mood and establishing the studio as a safe place for a nervous, inexperienced performer who might be capable of a great performance if you can help draw it out of them. And that's where this course comes in. So, with that brief rundown out of the way, let's start taking a look at some of those things to watch out for when recording vocals.